James.
Raf. Real estate drip.
Real estate drip.
Real estate agent drip.
Oh man, it is so funny how well, two things. One, you see someone in a suit on a Saturday, but they never just go with a navy blue business suit.
No.
Ever.
They
They
are
have to
rocking.
have some kind of it's loafers.
Yep.
It's some kind of silly tie, or it doesn't necessarily have to be silly. Skinny chino-y things. Like they always are just going for something.
Oh yeah. No, they are rocking the ultra slim politics cut.
Yeah.
I
Skinny tie.
I would in my dealings in recent months with a real estate agent, I saw just the most extreme version of real estate agent drip that was breathtaking. He was wearing the guy was ultra skinny. Like even by the standards of some real estate agents, he was a real skinny guy. Very skinny, very tall. Ultra skinny like slacks or chinos or whatever. He was rocking again, ultra tight fit shirt. But then he had like a suit jacket as well. But on top of that, he was wearing basically like this ultra slim like Matrix trench coat.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Like he had lent so hard into real estate agent drip that he had come out as like 1990s hacker chic.
The real estate agent for the place that we got, at one point he was wearing a bow tie. And this is like a guy who might be like 32.
Was it like a wacky bow tie, which is like a regular
No,
tie?
I think he was just going for something. He was going for something. And this is standard real estate fare we're talking. Yeah, he's always wearing the skinnies with loafers and whatnot. Sports jacket, I guess. But yeah, one day he just busted out a bow tie. He was also kept on saying, he's like, you play golf? When you get the house, you have to take me golfing. It's like, what?
I'm never going to
Why
speak
would
to
I
you again.
do that? Exactly. I'm buying a house from someone you're representing. Why would we play golf together?
What do you mean he's going to take me golfing?
Yeah, it's not happening, mate. I hope to never see you ever again.
If I see you again, I'm in litigation.
But yes, real estate agents, real estate in general, we love it, folks. And what we love more is real estate technology.
We wanted to talk a little bit about the technology that supports one of the most beloved industries on earth and the most beloved workforce on earth.
This is a friend of mine said this once, and sorry, I keep going back to real estate agents, but shout outs to Bennett for making this point. It was like, we went to university with a lot of very impressive people, very impressive, hardworking people, top of the state, this kind of gear, who basically could have done anything they wanted and did at university and studied all kinds of things and still to this day work really hard. However, if you could go back in time, the absolute best as far as just earning money and probably work to money ratio job they possibly could have gotten is real estate agent in the eastern suburbs. That, they killed all of us. Damn fools. When they could have been those people pulling out of a Lamborghini with the TikTok guy saying, what do you do? And literally 75% of them are property.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. Being a property developer, not even being an evil property developer is the best job you can possibly have, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, it's not. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not. Yeah, because it's kind of under-discussed. You don't think about, for example, REA Group in Australia or Domain Group as tech companies, but they are. That's basically what they are. They're like media tech companies that leverage a platform and an insane amount of data to make an absurd amount of money. Those two businesses alone in Australia are extremely successful.
Well, yeah, REA Group is the 19th biggest business in Australia. They're a friggin' real estate app, let's be honest.
Yeah, totally.
But they are I was going to say, and you are right in that my dealings with anyone who's worked, and I did a little bit of work with REA Group, and it's run like a tech company. It is a tech company, and a legit one, not an old world company that's trying to do some tech and they've got these devs off to the side. It's their design teams are proper design teams and whatnot. They are, and they've got to be a tech company.
And both, it's telling both of them REA Group and Domain were spun off from News Corp and Nine, who still each of them maintain strong shares in each because like they are absolute money machines, and they wanted basically be spun off so they could list on the AXX and hit their potential and not be dragged down by like a traditional media business, among other reasons, obviously. But like, you know, there's an unbelievable amount of value there because, I mean, you know, Australia being a particularly property crazed nation, but, you know, there are equivalents in the US as well, right? Zillow in the US, Redfin in the US. It's even like Zillow was a bigger part of US culture, I guess you could say. People treat it as like, you know, you always see memes about people who like checking, like going on Zillow and looking at expensive houses and shit like that, and looking at various, like looking at different neighborhoods and things like that too. Yeah, like real estate listing platforms are a huge and sort of underdescribed part of tech.
Yeah, and it's particularly interesting, I think, where they're heading in that, well, I mean, we talked the other day about kind of the future of the media, and I mean, how many journos would REA be employing? Like, it would be a number, like a number of journalists.
Domain has a ton of journalists. Yeah,
like a significant number. You know, they have economists doing economics articles and whatnot, which, you know, as I think people have been kind of speculating on this since the internet was around, that this would be the future of media as A, small subscription, and B, insurance companies and real estate groups and whatnot employing these kind of specific people. But because, though, the interesting thing about the business of realestate.com.au, Domain, these, you know, apps and websites around selling houses is more and more now they're obviously trying to keep people who've purchased a house and aren't looking to buy in their apps. Obviously starting with like simple features like tracking your own house and like the value of your house and getting push notifications every month being like, what's your house worth? Your house has moved, you know, in property prices. Now, and I actually thought this is one of the better uses of AI that I've seen in the realestate.com.au app. It takes the photos from the listing of your house and then you can like restyle your rooms with different pieces of furniture that you can then purchase, and it uses AI to restyle them. Anyway, I was like, oh, that's actually a kind of an interesting and cool use of generative AI. Not going to change the world, but it was fun looking at my shed in a boho inspired shed.
How did it look?
It was nice.
What if you did like a jungle theme with like some jungle type wallpaper with like some animals, and then you could get like a fog machine, a couple of lamps.
I was thinking more kind of Japanese, like a dojo
Japanese thing. Yeah, our dojo could be cool. The podcast dojo, we can record in there.
Yeah, that's right. Down around the studio. It's very cool. Our studios are called the dojo.
We sit cross-legged on those little cushions with like the low table, and our mics are on it, and we're both wearing like kimonos.
Yeah.
That could be cool. Yeah, no. So there's a ton of that stuff going around. These are massive platforms that are used. Most markets have their own sort of version of like a real estate platform, and they're all or multiple competitors, and they all tend to be pretty lucrative no matter where you look. Europe has a handful of them as well.
I mean, I think there is an interesting question about, is there a future in which, and this future is certainly not here just yet, but, you know, it begs the question, like the point of real estate agents themselves in the past was like, if you were looking to buy a house, you go to the various real estate agents and like look at the pictures in the window, you know what I mean? And obviously go through the newspaper and whatnot. But like, given that it's obligatory that every house for sale has to be posted on Domain and realestate.com.au in Australia, like it just has to be. There's really no alternative. Then why bother having all these different real estate agents? Like, you'd think that sooner or later, or at least this was what the internet promised, is that the real estate agents would kind of cease to exist. Because people would be able to kind of list it themselves, and you'd use technology to kind of put buyer and seller together, and et cetera, et cetera. That hasn't happened yet, but I mean, you could probably see a world where it moves closer to that. I know conveyancing is getting more and more online and whatnot, but you know, these things move slow.
Yeah, totally. No, it was one of the big promises, hey?
Well, there's definitely legislation, and you know, there is just some like difficulties in moving large sums of money between two parties.
I think it's basically like the complexity of the transactions. You know, there's also the fact that the current Australian system of doing this is obviously in Australia, but the current way of doing things here is with auctions, and like the whole system just like pumps the market. And I think people are quite happy to have that continues to go. Like sellers are probably happy to be in that kind of arrangement, having people who can negotiate and get prices up and like get a better deal, which you may not be able to do via an online platform.
I'm sure platforms have tried.
they're big emotional transactions as well, and like you want someone that's there that can talk you through like the local market and have a degree of like trust and accountability and the marketing sort of expertise and whatever. But it's one of those things where you feel like, at least for certain transactions or certain types of real estate transactions, it could be replaced. Although I guess one of the funny examples we may as well mention now is like companies like Zillow and Redfin in the US were trying to do a system of automated buying called
Yeah, this
iBuying.
was genius.
This was a real funny, not scandal, but like ZERP phenomenon in the US. It's called iBuying. It's short for instant buying. And it was a real estate business model. So basically ones like Zillow and Redfin. It was called Zillow Offers, Open Door, Redfin Now, and OfferPad. This was like late 2010s. They would analyze local real estate markets and make really competitive cash offers on people's homes. So the idea being almost what we were just talking about, like we will pay you a lower amount in cash in exchange for like a really fast settlement and a hassle-free process. And then they would buy it before they even looked at it. And then they would send people, and this was often on like an automated level, and then they'd send a person out to inspect it. And once it was all inspected and everything and they'd agreed on the final offer, they'd close that transaction within a couple of weeks, hand the cash over to the seller. And the idea being is that then they would run like arbitrage and resell those homes, whether it be actual price to a normal buyer or hold on to it and wait and then flip it for a higher cost.
It ran into a multitude of problems.
And there was like a seller's fee. There was a few little bits there, but really it was a case of we will pay you cash right now for a simple transaction. Our data analytics software that's super advanced knows that this house is going to go up in value or that it whatever, there's an arbitrage opportunity here. But it didn't fucking work.
No.
Profit margins were super thin. The market, housing markets fluctuate so insanely at the best of times. And as a result...
And the algorithms just weren't good enough, right? Like that was
the algorithms just weren't good.
Yeah. Like, because you can see, you'd be like, okay, we have all this data. This is a massive competitive advantage. We have all this information and knowledge that actually buyers and sellers don't have that we should be able to leverage, for this arbitrage. But it just turns out that like there's something ineffable about houses.
There's something magical about owning your own home, and that can't be automated away. When they give you that key and you walk in through the front door, and you can go, this is my house. No computer can solve that for you. Yeah.
Very briefly, back to our point about like, why do real estate agents still exist? It's even crazier in America, speaking of Zillow, because you have to have a buyer's agent as well as like the seller's agents.
Yeah, depending on your state, but yeah.
So if you're like looking to buy, you technically have to go through a buyer's agent who takes a percentage commission of the house you end up buying as well. And like nowadays, it's like, because in the past, again, they were supposed to be, hunting around and finding you the perfect house through all of their connections, this, that, the other. But nowadays, it's like you can literally, everyone's looking at Zillow, but you still have to pay a buy. That's crazy that they're still doing over that like that.
Well,
over there
I think
the land of the free.
Well, that's it. When you say we want open and free markets, that leaves a bit of room for a couple of like rent seekers who are still in 1920s mindset about how the world works, and they're just like accumulating rents from being in the middle of transactions. There's nothing wrong with that. If you got rid of all those people, look at car dealerships in the US. They're like one of the biggest. I don't know if this is true in Australia. I'm sure it would be, but in America, if you look at like the richest people in any given county or whatever, and you're not talking about coastal cities where all the billionaires live. 9 times out of 10, the richest people that live in any given county are people that own car dealerships. These are people who have net worths of like 50, 100, 150 million dollars or whatever. And, their whole industry and their whole raison d'etre is to just like protect that. Even as like the EV transition comes along and like dealerships don't make sense because, companies like Tesla sell DTC. And it's like we talk about houses being hard, like real estate being difficult to automate or replace with a platform for various reasons. Car dealerships are not that hard. Like it's not, there's logistics involved, but the idea of
people sell your own car, like person to person, peer to peer all the time.
Yeah. You just need to have some sort of infrastructure for like test driving and some sort of delivery infrastructure. And then like the third part of it is the thing that dealerships actually make money on, which is servicing.
Mm.
You know, and that's where they make their many millions of dollars mostly, because the actual margins on the cars are not huge. But yeah, like they still maintain this stranglehold, despite the fact that like it should theoretically be easier to sell cars online.
Yes, in particular because everyone knows that the dealership experience is fucked.
Hostile
like
and
going
weird.
in. Yeah, exactly. You just don't want to speak to a salesperson. You know what I mean? Like it's just they're like the last person in the world you want to speak to is like a car salesman because you know it's going to be annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
No, totally. We're not here to talk about cars, but rentals, mate. The rental experience. That's another. This gets my blood boiling.
No, totally. Landlords. You mean the concept of landlords get your blood boiling?
The concept of property in general. But like what renters have to go through. The thing that annoys me the most is like, it obviously has gotten worse and worse recently because rentals are so competitive. What they can extract out of someone looking for a rental is just kind of gone up and up and up.
Yeah.
In that,
no, exactly.
you know,
every time I've moved to a new place over the past like however many years I've been renting, a while, every single time I've gone through a move, like the process has become more platform driven, like more you having to sign up to a platform like Tenant app or To Apply or any of these other like constellation of fucking rental application software and platforms. And each time that I've done it, it's been a more punishing, laborious process. And yes, I think this kind of thing flourishes in... I've got to give a point to the IMBYs. I feel like if there was plentiful housing supply and there wasn't so much competition for rentals, these platforms just wouldn't be able to flourish the way they do. Because like, you know, a lot of it... Yeah, like the most recent one I went through, and I think it was the same. I think it was To Apply. That's number 2, Apply. They've been kicking around forever, and I'd used it before, but just like the process just becomes more and more laborious each time. It asks for more information, more for you to upload more and more documents and like history and all that sort of stuff. It throws at you even more kind of like, sign up here to do your own background check for $40 to improve your chances, and it doesn't quantify at all how that might improve your chances or whether the real estate agent or the landlord even wants it. But it's just like this weird in-app purchase.
Well, it's like exactly. It's like an upsell thing where they're preying on like hope, basically, that it's like, oh, cool. If I pay you guys to run a police check on me, that will make me look, you know, more special to like the friggin' property manager or whatever who might ordain me with housing. Like, you know, so that they can get like a random margin on it. It's so annoying. It's annoying.
It's incredible.
And the amount of data you have to give over, it's just like so invasive.
No, totally. I don't know what the situation is in terms of what they can do with that data, like whether they can bundle it up or whatever. I would imagine not, because you know it is extreme, like the stuff they can collect. Like they ask for, I mean, like it is relatively normal to ask for like a pay slips and whatever to find out if you actually have the capacity for pay for stuff. But like asking for like
bank transactions and stuff.
Yeah, bank account screenshots, asking for, you know, the kind of stuff that you might expect when you're applying for a mortgage maybe, but like in this case you're literally just renting a property, and it's all, as you say, it's all tech enabled. A lot of these companies, the property agent or the landlord can set the sort of stuff that they want to ask for, and so it varies from property to property or agent to agent, but it's just like it's just crazy invasive.
And also it seems like the business model for a lot of them, right? Because it's like, okay, who's paying for these platforms? And like I think in an ideal world, yeah, sure, you've got some kind of SaaS platform that the real estate or the property manager or whatever just pays some kind of subscription in order to use. But I feel like because there's so much data going in, I don't actually know 100% what the business models are, but to me it seems like presumably a lot of these things are not actually charging the agents all that much, if anything, and they're making all of their money off the, the weird police background checks, and B, do you want us to move your electricity and phone number and whatever over and things like this, which is basically just affiliate marketing and like all these other kind of weird tack on and add-ons that that's where the business model is like by weirdly upselling the tenants. Yeah,
with the core down round thesis, everything is affiliate marketing. No, it was like, it was actually quite funny. Again, moving to an apartment and signed the lease, and then someone from the real estate agent that I hadn't been talking to rang me up and was like, in full sales mode immediately, which immediately causes your like fight or flight response. Yeah. When a guy's in full hustle mode, you're like, okay. And it just being like, hey, man, congratulations on the place. Hope you're settling in. Yeah, that's so sick, man. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And then like, hey, so just about your utilities, I'm just going to shoot you a link right now. And then as soon as you said it, like ping, I had a link on my phone, text it to me. If you just want to hit that link right there. Because again, as many people would know, the process of moving over your utilities to a new property is so insanely easy.
It's so easy. Yeah.
It's like most places have like an online form, you can do it, or worst comes to worst, you speak to one person on the phone and like they will do it in 5 seconds. You just say, I used to live here, verify my identity, I now live here, thank you. And they move it. They go, is this still your email? Yeah, it's still my email. Great, move over. So I played along with this guy because I was kind of curious to see where he was going with it. And I clicked on the link and I opened up like a pre-populated form with my new address on it and things like that and my name. And he was basically just like, again, guiding me on the phone. So yeah, if you just look at these, and it was basically like a list of different energy and gas providers. And he was like, yeah, man, if you just, as you can see right there, like Origin is the best deal for you. So you just sort of whack on Origin, hit next. And I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, and obviously this real estate agent clips the ticket to the degree of, I don't know, it's kind of impossible to know. Do they get a slice of each bill, or is it just like a finder's fee?
A lot of those affiliates, they probably do get like a,
like
whatever it is,
they get a few bucks off each bill or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like this crazy. And then I eventually just had to be like, hey man, it's cool. He got me halfway through it, and I was like, yeah, all good, man. I've already spoken to the Origin, and our gas has been moved over, so there's no issue here. And he's just like, oh, okay.
I mean, what a surprise. Like the sleaziest industry or the sleaziest job you can possibly have is just getting more and more sleazy. We're just like trying to sell you. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah,
mate.
No, totally.
It's dire out there. I don't know how you change it. I think we need like a government SaaS product.
Oh yeah.
It all goes through.
Like MyGov.
Yes. Service New South Wales. I think they do a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, Service New South Wales should be, I think we've brought up this very idea, but it should be like a social network. Basically, Service New South Wales should be like the current Facebook homepage. It should have like a feed of all your mates.
Yeah.
Posting about whatever. No like fire hose of content. Like I don't want Service New South Wales to have like a Reels competitor or something. A TikTok competitor. I don't need that. And then just
like your mates being like, oh, I just updated my license today. Look at the photo.
You could
Look
do
at the
update.
new photo.
Yeah. You could do that. But then it's just got like a whole, in the same way that Facebook has like a spacecraft level number of tools on the side for like various abandoned platforms they probably never update anymore. Should have all that, but it's got like, a home search thing. It's got like a marketplace. It's got like my Service New South Wales marketplace.
Yeah.
It's got a dating app, I assume. It's got a dating app in there where you can swipe. It's got...
You definitely have that.
You could also like buy cosmetics for your profile, like little hats and shit like that.
Yeah, that's where you can have your porn license.
Yeah, your porn license appears there. And yeah, just like little gems. You can buy gems. Goes straight into state revenue.
Yeah, like the lotto. It's kind of like the lotto, but
yeah, the lotto could be run through there. I just don't see why they can't dream a bit bigger with the Service New South Wales. And then, yeah, of course, it's got like a Venmo type feed where every single interaction you have with the government is registered for all to peruse.
Yeah, I think that's what we need, a bit more transparency.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The issue with the housing market is the lack of transparency. And this, I think that's the other way it can go. Instead of just having to fill out all these forms and giving all this like information to rentals, how about just all that information is just constantly publicly available for every person?
Yeah, exactly. Let's just like even out the stakes. I don't like the idea of all my pay slips being sent to some unknown real estate platform where I don't know what they're going to do with it. Just make it all visible. Make it all completely visible. That it can have like a leaderboard for you and your mates and who earns the most in taxable income per year.
That would probably be good for productivity.
That'd be good, exactly. But like, look, you get a push notification that's like RAF just overtook you in annual taxable income.
That would make people probably do less like deducting expenses, right? Like if you had a leaderboard and it's your like post expenses, so it's like your net salary, your net income, people would be less inclined to be like, oh, that's a deduction, chuck that in there, right? They'd be like, people, I got to boost the numbers.
It's about incentives. Do you really want that money back if it means that you're going to lose 2 spots on the Service New South Wales Tax Revenue Board? Total tax contribution. Imagine if you were neck and neck with someone, like with your total tax revenue contribution, And you know, when you hit certain milestones, it's like pokies type noises, like Candy Crush,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
ding 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 ding. And then all of a sudden, like you're neck and neck, you've been battling for ages. Then bang, one of you pays stamp duty. Just leaps ahead by like 40 grand or 50 grand or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, that's the other thing. It might incentivize people to move house more, which is what we want.
yeah, get some capital flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love
Anyway,
it, folks.
Obviously real estate has, because the other side of it is a whole ton of different businesses that have been built up, which try to capture the tech sort of vibe. If there's one industry, let me put it this way, one industry that did that whole thing of like, we're a tech business and we deserve tech multiples and tech investment from tech investors, but actually did not have a product that was tech in any way. Biggest culprit is the real estate industry, I think. WeWork being the absolute canonical example, as we've talked about in multiple episodes, of a business that was really just like a real estate roll-up business, building management, co-working space, however you wanted to chop it up. But it sold itself, and we're not making an original point here, even for this podcast, sold itself as a tech company and achieved tech levels of growth. And successfully for Adam Newman.
Yes, and only Adam Newman and his descendants.
Yeah, totally. But there's a bunch of different ones like this. The one I was trying to think of this before because I looked into them a little while ago. It's called Cul-de-sac, culdesac.com. And if you look at it, it's got like a tech style scrolling sort of page. You know, Cul-de-sac designs, builds and manages walkable communities. And it looks kind of like, the website looks a bit like Airbnb. There's some like video scrolling. You've got like a nice little calendar app. There's like these interactive maps. There's merch. There's like blah, 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 all this kind of crap. And it's got like those, you know, as seen in the New York Times, the Guardian, the Wall Street Journal sort of logos in the same way that a lot of apps do. But it's literally just like a property developer that builds walkable neighborhoods or cyclable neighborhoods.
Sounds like basically retirement village style.
It's a retirement village thing, but kind of like pitched to... They only have one development, I think, at the moment, which is in Tempe, Arizona. But again,
but it's tech. If it's got a cool website, it's tech.
It's tech. And if you look at their, like on their About Us page, they have their board. And, you know, they talk about, and all the people on the board are, you know, Kozler Ventures, the co-founder of Lyft, president of Sell Direct and services at Open Door. So it's all tech people sitting on the board. They're selling it as kind of like, this lifestyle experience, tech, platform-enabled thing. But it's literally just a property developer. And, you know, power to them. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to build a great walkable neighborhood for people to live in and parcel it up and sell the lifestyle, amazing. It's not a tech business at all.
No, but it goes back to that thing where it's like people who've made pretty good apps or whatever in the past being like, what if we turned our imagination to building houses or whatever?
Solving community.
Yeah, cities. What about
like
community? Exactly.
Yeah, it's literally just like, I think they even had in one of their initial decks or like one of their initial presentations that like it's like an IRL social network. Is like
that's what WeWork said. The first IRL
in-person social network. Which is funny for WeWork, which is kind of like, but at least they had the argument of, you know, you've got an app and you could book in experiences and you could show up and all that sort of stuff. This is literally just like, imagine if you talked to your neighbors. Imagine if you were friends with the people who lived in the buildings next to you. You know, and we're going to bring our experience of building online social networks to make that happen. We're not going to do anything, but it'll be a beautiful walkable neighborhood in the like 900-degree Arizona heat.
Yeah, my favorite tech product, actually, I would say, is probably Neom.
Okay, well, Neom is tech. Neom is, I remind you, it's a 500-kilometer long, 1 meter across, I don't know, glass cube out in the desert that has robots living in it.
Yes,
I believe that's the property.
Point. That is tech.
No, that is tech. That is technology. Well, actually, you know what? You're so right. That is like the culmination of what we're talking about is Neom. All this stuff is just wasting time.
Including this podcast.
Oh, totally. 3 days ago on Business Insider, Saudi Arabia's Neom dreams collide with financial reality as budgets reportedly face big cuts. They've slashed their budget by another 20%.
Well, haven't they cut it down from like, what was it going to be, like 100 kilometers or something? Isn't it? They're now looking at something like 150 meters.
I don't know if it's... So it was meant to be...
I think those numbers are wrong.
Yeah, I think they might be off. Well, this story says that planners have reportedly dismissed the official $500 billion budget for NEOM as unrealistically low. Some estimates have put the projected bill at as high as $1.5 trillion.
It's a fair chunk of change.
That's a bit of coin. But they could recoup some of that if they just had some eastern suburbs guy in an ultra skinny politics suit just grinding.
Yeah, just moving my electricity over and then taking a nice little 2% margin on every subsequent electricity bill.
Imagine if you bought a luxury penthouse in Neom and you just close the deal, $150 million, $200 million apartment, and the first thing you get is a guy that picks up the phone and goes, "Hey, brother, congratulations. Welcome to Saudi Arabia, Tobruk region. You're going to love it, mate. I've just fanged you a link."
If you're listening to this, did you know there's another world out there where you get a second episode of Down Round a week?
Yep, it's called Down Round Premium.
That's right. And there's no interruptions.
No interruptions, no ads, 2 episodes a week, including the free one you're getting right now, plus another one.
Yep, $7 a month, not a week, a month. Downround.net. Downround.net. Instant access to the whole back catalogue as well. You've got so much to catch up on.
There's so much. Get around it.